gaming shoot, what said that you claim it? It's that Xbox, spin the block, his legs live. Fast talker, no riddling, moonwalking, selling moon rock just to make dividends. You in traffic with family? That much make it a portrait. Gun kick back, not grannies from porches. David on the scene, you know that it's scorching. What's the matter with King? No response to the saying, advancing the line, advancing the payment. You front the game and shoot, what said that you claim?
You already know the time, told my boys to hold the line. We gon' shoot it out in seconds, leave you posted like a vine. Bow your head down to the king, leave your roses at the shrine. We stay ready for the war, just need the king to drop the sign. Say what you running from, what you running from? I'm with my team, we bleed green, that's what you wanted, huh? Say what you running from, what you running from? I'm with my team, we bleed green, that's what you wanted, huh? This what you wanted. This what you wanted, huh?
Peace and blessings, and welcome back to Xbox Frontline News with your boy, the King. And it's a wild Tuesday. We're talking fiscals, earnings, what's reporting, the overall health of companies going into the second half of the year, as we're seeing everybody looking at their viability on how they should market, where they should market, strategies, new technology coming out. This is an exciting new era for us because the era really kicks off in September. Oh, but wait, I'm getting ahead of myself. Hey, if this is your first time finding the channel, welcome. And for longtime viewers and members, thank you for returning. But for new people, please take my invitation to subscribe. And if you'd like to become a member and help the channel out further, that is the lifeblood of the channel. It allows us to do different things and push forward in this gaming space. Here, we talk about the gaming industry as a whole, but we focus on Xbox. Xbox is the team green, as you can see, that I rep. And we really like the ecosystem and the platform over here. So if you want positive Xbox news, if you want real opinions on how I see the industry, thank you for being here. But we got a lot of topics to talk about. We got Game Pass popping. We have companies to be purchased. And we have trailers. And a game I can't stand, but will never die, is back again. And it's probably having one of the greatest runs of a game I hate the most. And as much as I hate on it, it's showing me my hate will never stop its ascension. I might have to bend the knee to this damn game. Let's get into these topics. I'm going to tell you something, man. As a Xbox console lover, as a platform lover of the Xbox ecosystem, as a person who looks at how hard it is for American companies to thrive in certain regions, this is our only American console, right? And yeah, so what? We're not perfect. But the gaming ecosphere that Microsoft has cultivated with the brand of Xbox has shifted and changed positions throughout the year, trying to focus and retain the hardcore while going to get the casual. And they have their ups and downs, but you're going to see the entire health of this company and the brand of Xbox is great. Microsoft finished on a plus 1.13% shares up, while, gaming was up at 1.5%, right? We got the part where Valve and, from Obsidian was delayed, right? And that's going to make, that stuff is going to take a dip because of that. Xbox consoles, people are buying fewer consoles to begin with. And it's easy to wonder how much Microsoft cares about the platform anymore. According to the latest earnings report, Microsoft gaming hardware sales was down 42% from the previous quarter. This makes some sense, as most want an Xbox already have one. But the numbers are enough to prompt concern over the field in general. Is Microsoft a buy or sell right now? Turning to the Wall Street analysts, have a strong buy consensus rating Microsoft stock based on 32 buys assigned in the past 3 months, as indicated by the graphic below. After 22.59% rally in its share price over the past year, average Microsoft price target is 503.9 per share. Implies that 26.03% upside potential. This is the projections going up. And every once in a while, I tell you some stock information just to give you an idea of the overall health of Xbox and Microsoft as a company. When traditional media try to stoke fears, take a deep breath. Go to someone that you honestly trust their opinion to have information that you otherwise didn't look for. We're going to talk about this topic because we need to start talking about the overall health of a company, and you can see the projections and the outcomes of things so we can have a healthy conversation about this stuff. Hey, so as much as you will hear doom and gloom from other channels and people falsely reporting on the overall health when it comes to Xbox gaming division from Microsoft, the reports indicate that stuff is a lie. It's 1.3 up. The shareholders are pleased with the progress that they see in the space, although the news of Avowal being moved to next year kind of weakens the overall releases for the platform. And that is a reason why it's probably not a 2.0 up in the polls, right? In the shares. That stuff didn't diminish the positives that's around it. I noticed, because I was looking at the comments on Twitter when it came to how PlayStation and Nintendo is perceived in their home country, and developers making games that are they stand with nationalism and pride. And it allowed me to put out a tweet with a provoking question, a thought-provoking question. Why don't we back our American company, our only American gaming company, as far as the manufacturer goes? So I grew up in the days of Atari, ColecoVision, and such, and where the Westerners, we had a grasp on the market. I grew up in a time when made in the USA meant something. And over that period of time, I saw the nationalism and pride in the USA erode to a point of contempt of us in this country. The reason why the hold the line thing resonated with most, and especially, people who are of the military pride with things, that stuff is essential to the core of the message, right? And it's from my generation. I think over a period of time, I've seen it change to the melting pot that it is. But I want you to understand how I identify, and I maybe might lose a lot of you. I'm an American. When I go and take my passport, I'm stamped an American. When I go overseas, I'm an American. I'm not Afro-American. I'm an American. And I think pride of country is being lost in places where we see somebody stand up, and you can see the developer at, one of the representatives at, S Games. So they said, took a stance on Xbox and how it's not necessary and needed, and how basically they would support their own. And had me ask that question, where was that sense of pride? Where are we at when it comes to Xbox? And I think that's my level of frustration, because I look over at fellow Americans with such vitriol. But that's the beauty in this country, right? The freedom to voice your opinion on your home ground. But you have to, it takes a stance when it comes to a product, because somebody also put the tweet, and I respect your opinion, that you buy the best product regardless of nationalism. You buy the best product for your money because this is a capitalistic viewpoint. See, this is where you have that dichotomy between capitalism and nationalism. I didn't want this to devolve into something that is steeped in this. It's just that, like, I'm from New York. I rep the home team, regardless of their position in the market, regardless of where the Yankees stand. If they're going up against anybody, I stand with my team. Regardless to where the Knicks is, I rep my team. When I'm watching the Olympics, I have a sense of pride when USA wins. Am I a traditionalist? Am I a crazy optimist? Am I a fool to believe in made in the USA used to mean something? Now, yes, of course, Microsoft chips is made all over the place, and that made in the USA brand no longer has the strength behind it that it used to. It no longer has the meaning because you can't see it anywhere. But that sense of pride of where I lay my head at night and the freedom to get up and do things, that is because this is all I know. This is what I know. But when other people can make comments about they support their own, why can't I support my own? Why can't my opinion and my fandom be respected? Because I see the only U.S. manufacturer fighting like hell. And I love an underdog. I love somebody that fights like hell to find a way to win. Because that is the American dream. You fight like hell to find a way to win, no matter the odds. And maybe you might win, maybe you might lose, but you hold your head up high. So I respect that developer or that associate that had their comment. But I respectfully say, if you don't support now, don't try it later. Because I'm going to support this team until they decide to give up the ghost. And as long as they're fighting, I'm fighting with them. Always. Here we go, as we start to look at the overall health of things. See, now this is the time of the year where you start to speculate on acquisitions, mergers, purchases. And, a report right now is the WB Discovery is looking to sell off games, other divisions to prevent a total breakup. And they've been trying to do this for a long period of time. So in order to stay afloat, they have to try some form of divestiture when it comes to the assets that they do have. So game franchises like DC and Mortal Kombat may once again be up for sale as Warner Brother Discovery tries to make some money. So right now, Warner Brother Discovery is in dire financial straits. May lead to selling off various smaller assets as a means to avoid a complete nuclear option as a corporate breakup. The Financial Times had an article today, and they talked about the CEO, David Zaslav, are considering selling off video game division. And before, they didn't use that as an option. That side of the business includes original franchises like Mortal Kombat, transmedia brands as DC and Harry Potter. Since the merging with Discovery in 2022, the WB Discovery has repeatedly affirmed its desire to stick around in video games, particular with live service, and they saw big success with Hogwarts Legacies, followed by the modest multiverse and disappointing Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad hurt them the most, especially when you're trying to talk about your viability in the marketplace, and something as big as that IP that they needed to hit and with live services definitely hurt their position when you're talking to shareholders as viability. Selling itself is in WB's blood. Notably, this is the second time this decade that WB Games has been up for potential sale. And they go into back when it was owned by AT&T, and it's just, are we at the point again? If WB Games was sold off now, it's unclear of how much, given the performance of his after-mentioned 2023 and 2024 in games, along with Monolith's production of the incoming Wonder Woman title. These things needs to be talked about because they're actively looking for buyers in our market, and you logically look at certain companies have been hampered with cost-cutting measures, so they automatically remove themselves off the table. WB selling stuff again. Oh, they're always looking to be selling. Well, who's going to buy them? Well, it's not Embracer Group, and it's not Tencent. Who needs it? Is it Sony? Is it Nintendo? I don't believe it's Nintendo because I don't believe their portfolio is geared to Nintendo. I don't believe Sony has the operating capital to make a purchase with the uncertainty around the IPs over at WB. So here we go again. Who does it fall under? Who is still in acquisition season? And I know we hear this all the time. Yo, King, they don't need more publishers. Microsoft doesn't need any more divisions. I'm not here talking about publishers and divisions. What I'm here talking about is IPs. WB holds on to some of the most important IPs, Hogwarts Legacy, with the Harry Potter, DC, Mortal Kombat. I think those IPs mean so much, especially in transmedia, where the gaming sphere is heading, right? You will have the digital footprint of those IPs that will reverberate through many different mediums: movie, television, games, digital books, as far as comic books and stuff like that. And the possibilities is endless, and with collaborations and so forth. I think Microsoft should take another look back at the IPs that are available and see how they can leverage these IPs while gaining certain things, because they have enough studios to work on these titles to push these IPs where they need to be. I think that should be the thought process when evaluating WB and the divestiture of the IPs from the core of Discovery. This is why I constantly go at the PlayStation platform for their offerings in their service. This is why they're always second-class citizens when it comes to the Xbox brand and Xbox Game Pass. PlayStation Plus free games for August 2024 are now live. PlayStation Plus subscribers can get a spooky adventure and a massive collection of Lego Star Wars games. You have Lego Star Wars, you have Five Nights at Freddy's, and you have Ender Lilies. These are the games that are available. PlayStation Plus free games for August is Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga, Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach, and Ender Lilies Quintessence of the Nights. Yeah. My God, we're so excited This is why jealousy and hate rule supreme over at Ponybot land. Now, here's a totally different look on what services and what a platform and what's the viability of said platform and what they have to offer you. This is why Xbox Game Pass and Xbox platform, what are patrons, friends, and customers have in store for them. This is why Game Pass is far superior to the PlayStation equivalent. It's not even equal. Microsoft confirms Xbox Game Pass in August. Wave 1 lineup. Wave 1 lineup. Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, Mafia Definitive Edition, Creatures of Avia will be added to the subscription service. That game looks good. Crash Bandicoot looks great. We know Mafia is good. This is just the first half of August. And that's, when we tell you we eat good, we're just not talking. We eat good. You see the difference? When I tell you they not like us, they're not eating the same. You have to look at the arguments of individuals to understand exactly why they're fighting so hard. You're looking at, you don't have the hardware, and that's what you don't have the software to compete when it comes to your services. This is why Xbox services is up. The people have spoken. Game Pass is the best services in gaming. Period. Bar none. It's not even close. And you can't fight it any longer. When we have your once mascot, I'm old enough to know Crash Bandicoot as a PlayStation mascot. It's Xbox mascot now. And it's being released in Game Pass. You live long enough to see certain amounts of change to know never doesn't mean never. It just means not right now. Things are wild in the world of gaming. But one thing you cannot deny Xbox is games and services is paramount over at the DNA of Microsoft, and the Xbox brand will continue to show you why Microsoft is $1 trillion company and Xbox is $1 trillion brand. At some point, it will be that. It will be that because it's inevitable. Game Pass, bro. August is crazy. This is something that I'm particularly confused about because the Microsoft mobile gaming store is being tested internally at Xbox. That thing was supposed to go live in July. So when I see it didn't go live, obviously they hit some bumps and kinks and they weren't comfortable with how to roll it out. We've been hearing about Microsoft building its own mobile gaming store for a while now. And a new statement from Xbox shed some light on the situation and where we're at with it. Internally expected to launch last month. See, Microsoft has now confirmed that its store is still being tested internally before any sort of public release. In response to an official Xbox insider image spreading around the community, Xbox head of communications, Kari Perez, has confirmed that testing has begun on the store over at Team Xbox, but they haven't committed to a public release yet. Now, during the whole Activision Blizzard saga, Microsoft told the UK CMA that its mobile Xbox stores was being built to shift customers away from Apple and Google. You know, they have to be viable in the space. You have to have an offering in the space. You cannot just sit there idly and expecting people to come over to you. You must at least try. Both of whom have almost a total control of the mobile store market. Xbox boss Phil Dominus Maximus Aurelius Spencer, first of his name, also inferred that its release date wasn't far away. Last November, we was expecting to see it crop up publicly in some form soon. In any case, this mobile storefront plan doesn't seem to be going away, and we can be sure that Xbox is still working on it right now. It might be worth keeping your eyes out for this news shortly. This directly ties into their handheld rumors being, of the console. I'm pretty sure that is the reason why it hasn't been launched yet, but we could talk about it. Guess who's late as usual? The often reported on and never available Xbox mobile gaming store, Microsoft mobile gaming store. I think they're still trying to figure out internally how to market this thing, how to push it, because you only have one shot at the king. And that Google Play Store, I rocks with it. You only have one shot at it. I think the same way that xCloud and cloud gaming at Xbox is still in beta, I believe the store will continue to be pushed internally. They want a device that pretty much doesn't guarantee, but pretty much kind of puts some odds in your favor. So when you do show to shareholders the performance of the store, you can show the pass-through and the purchase rate from the store to quell any fears that you might have on keeping it open. Because that would be the direct avenue on purchasing in the mobile division. Microsoft is building their mobile division after the acquisition of ABK, especially the King portion of that, and the games and portfolios that they will start to amass over a period of time. And I think that Xbox handheld console, the rumored one, will be the strategy. Now, somebody put in the comments the other day that they don't want a handheld. Then leave it docked at your television and pretend like it doesn't go anywhere like I do my Switch. The inability to see outside of your own scope is limiting in the mentality of the comment. Because I don't care if I agree with Nintendo's thought process of having a hybrid console. You can't deny the success of said console, and you can't just offshoot it to it being Nintendo, because then you have to look at the Wii U to say it's just not the Nintendo name, but maybe it's the console as well that has a large say in what success it brings. And as we see other handhelds like the Steam Deck and the ROG Ally, which have dockable solutions and you can play big screen mode, it's a viable thought process in going forward to have the versatility and flexibility and options of choice to the consumer. So I believe that the storefront is still in a holding pattern until they have the delivery device to show. Now, of course, then you're working with partnerships to make sure that it's mandatory in like some of your partners like Samsung or other phone manufacturers to get it inside phones so that the app is there by default. I think that stuff, when you're lobbying to have that stuff at companies, plays a large part in rollout. We will have to see the partnerships that we do know the partnerships that they have across the world. We don't know if they leverage Qualcomm in pushing that forward, because I think that's a strategic ally, because Snapdragon's processors are in a ton of phones. So if you leverage that relationship, you might have an answer going forward on how it's delivered. And then you will have the storefront. And as far as the console goes, I believe that is the genuine factor on the delay at the moment. This right here is probably the single most exciting news that I got today. I watched the Digital Foundry stuff. We're going to talk about that. Microsoft's Auto Super Resolution tested a new AI upscaler has arrived. The gaming highlight of the new Windows ARM Copilot Plus laptops. Look at that. Right? Richard Ledbetter. I watched the Digital Foundry, and this is no short of revolutionary. Now, you have stuff in the market, right, that is hardware-based upscaling. This is a software-based upscaling, and it doesn't have many input prompts for it to achieve its goal. This is what makes this so intuitive. And robustly embracing the AI era, Microsoft has mandated that a new AI-focused Copilot Plus PCs should contain an integrated neural processors rated for at least 40 top to a piece, tensor operation. The new processor, like the Snapdragon X Elite and AMD's Strider Point line, contain the requisite hardware, while we can expect gaming not to touch the NPU for a good while yet, which I honestly know is going to be in the handheld, right? It's logical. Microsoft Auto SR can be invoked and will be practically any game that you can do right now. It's curated. They have a curated whitelist, and I can't wait to talk about what game is greenlit, tested, and approved. It has it's a form of petty that I'm that guy that's down for the petty. Right, looking into the auto super resolution upscaler powers, they went back to Microsoft blog and introduced the technology and sought to replicate the results in Borderlands 3, which is based on a 720p image upscaled to 1440p with clearly notable quality improvements. Initially, I captured the benchmark at a native 720p, and then with auto resolution upscaler and it passed captured 1080p, 1440p, and 2160p. It turns out that the auto super resolution only upscales to one resolution. So any differences between the captured resolutions can be entirely down to the GPU scaler. From that point onwards, I moved to 2160p. Auto super resolution captures as 4K is the final output resolution of the video that you see. It was very impressive, to say the least, when I watched it. This is impressive stuff. The AI revolution is starting in September. That's the reason why when you looked at the fiscals on the Microsoft stuff and you was like the AI stuff is down, because the launch of AI to the consumer has been vastly delayed into September, where the launch of the new Surface hardware will have this Copilot Plus AI NPU that is needed. Now, I probably said a whole bunch of gibberish to people that don't understand stuff, right? And I'm not a super tech head either, so I'm going to talk about how I understood it from Digital Foundry. Other companies give you forms of upscaling, right? Now, upscaling is when you take an image that is of lower quality and you artificially raise it to a higher image quality and standard for the eyes to make it look better, but using the same assets, using the same lower assets to achieve said goals. It's like a trickery of the eye. It's like a mastery. It's like a sleight of hand, if you will. AMD has theirs, NVIDIA has theirs, various others also have theirs. Now and Sony has theirs that is rumored to be inside the PlayStation 5 Pro. I believe that is why you are being held off at the moment on the release date of the PlayStation 5 Pro. Not saying that it's not going to happen. I believe that it will happen. I just believe they're trying to see the failure rate on the AI chipset. As far as manufacturing and launch, they do it release this year. Maybe the PlayStation 5 Pro slips to next year early to go up against the Nintendo to probably slow down their momentum. right? So they don't lose market share during the Switch 2 release next year, because you will have a whole year in the marketplace alone, because Microsoft won't launch their next console until 2026. It will be a year of the Switch 2, and unchallenged, they can go and run amok. I don't think Sony needs that, knowing that they still won't be able to enter the marketplace in 2026, and that will push them so far behind. But back to the AI upscaler, this is exciting news, because how it's done, it's done across the boards on any game. One of the games that stood out the most to me, and I'm King Petty, hashtag no PlayStation 6. You know how we do it over here. We're going to run it up on them bums. I'm going to keep the boot on Kong's neck this whole generation. And seeing that God of War was one of the approved games on the list. Now, you can play games due to various degrees of results. But the games that they tested the most and they approved and gave a thumbs up on, Borderlands and a lot of stuff was there. But my eyes blew up like it was crazy when I saw God of War. And I'm sorry. I know console wars piss off a lot of people. And maybe that's a limitation of this channel, that maybe you feel like if you're part of Nintendo, you're not heard here. Or if you're part of the Sony camp, you're made fun of here. So what? I like it. I like doing hood rat things with my friends. I was messy. And that's just about it. But seeing that the revolution is starting in September, the AI revolution, Microsoft is pushing forward again. I love the fact that they mandated inside every Surface. And they're showing the software to make it viable. Now, this is a test bed. They're trying to say that this hardware won't be available in the next console. That's BS. I believe that's the only thing that separates the next consoles is the AI solution that they have on board. And Microsoft is showing you the ability to put a chip inside a machine that facilitates that level of software support, regardless of hardware in the device. That's showing you a level of flexibility, because you have to look at it. They're a console manufacturer with a first-party developer mindset, but they're also a third-party developer to get games across the boards. So they want to make sure that the games work all across the boards. And as a software solution company, that's a huge software stamp. It is wild to see the innovations that they do in a space that maybe isn't recognized by some, but sometimes things come across that are so undeniably genius that people have to stand up and clap and take notice of the changes that one company makes and the innovations that they bring to the industry. Some may bemoan this as something small. I'm telling you, this is huge. It means a lot. And it embraces all. So even if you're on AMD side, or even if you're on NVIDIA side, this solution embraces you if you don't want to make a choice between DLSS and super resolution, all that other stuff. This is probably a one-stop shop resolution update. Is it perfect at the moment? No, but it's just launching. So give it the same amount of time that you gave DLSS, bro, because we know that Switch 2 is going to have some form of DLSS in it for the upscaling resolution. That is necessary going forward with these large textures in games and everything. It helps out. It gives you a sharper image quality from a lower resolution image. That's invaluable when it comes to making games. All right, this is letting you know, you see what's happening across the board. You saw Microsoft put out 42%, no, 46% down in hardware sales. Nintendo posted 41% down in hardware sales. Everybody has an excuse for that. It's down. The PlayStation top hardware sales charts in the USA for June, while overall hardware spending was down 37% compared to last year. This is where we are. And it's just the fact of the industry and how we are specifically at this point in time in the world. All hardware manufacturers in our space is down. I don't know how. You see, what the Ponybots is going to try to do is spin this part, and we're just going to talk about the industry as a whole, it being down. And I say it's a lack of compelling games to push the hardware forward. So you're going to see that there's various levels of hardware sales being shown. And a lot of people will tell you that they had positive growth. No, they didn't. They're down just like everybody else. It's just an indication of where we are as, in sales, in purchasing as consumers. Consumers are being more frugal because the instability in the marketplace, as far as jobs and stuff like that goes, shows you that you can't go and spend frivolously on stuff that is not necessary at the moment. And there hasn't been anything necessary to push the industry towards the current gen. The games are starting now. The pandemic hurt us so much that we had to still depend on older hardware to keep that software there because that base was already there. That base wasn't moving. Those consoles was already purchased. So those 100 million consoles is already there. So you got to talk to a fan base that's available for you. You can't try to make changes and growth if it's uncertainty in the marketplace. And we see what that uncertainty leads to. It leads to a downward trend overall in the marketplace for hardware. Now, of course, the Port Begging Ponies is going to yell out, but we only down 37%. Apples and oranges, bro. Apples and oranges. At the end of the day, I can honestly admit that as hardware, I am disappointed in the overall growth and adaptation of new tech going forward. I am sorely disappointed in this generation's willingness to force the consumer to upgrade. Past generations, like Jim said, they believed in generations and had to do an about face on that. And I'm pretty sure he meant it in his heart, that he wanted everything from day one to only be available on PlayStation 5. But that was financial suicide looking at the market conditions. Market conditions will always dictate shareholders' grasp and reach. They want to make sure that deals are as sure as possible. And cutting off your nose to spite your face, even though that would mean growth in a larger sector, sometimes somebody doesn't want to be first there. And they're waiting for somebody else to jump in the pool to test the waters. Damn, the earnings call and everything came out for Square, and they still didn't come up off them numbers for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth PlayStation sales. It's still a secret as Square Enix reports year-on-year decline. Final Fantasy 14 is still a monster, though. This is where they made their money in the services area. Square Enix released its latest earning report, and unfortunately, those still waiting for official sales numbers for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth will be left disappointed. The sequel's commercial success remains shrouded in mystery while the publisher reveals a year-on-year decline for game sales over the most recent quarter. That is 18% decline. It doesn't come as a huge surprise, though this time last year we was just a month or so removed from the launch of Final Fantasy XVI and Final Fantasy Pixel remasters hit the PlayStation 4 in April. Even if Rebirth had turned out to be a sales titan, Square Enix still wouldn't have expected to make up the difference in the months after that release. Yo, you can always rely on Final Fantasy XIV to help bring they behind out the fire. It's wild that they haven't reported that number, because that number is a strong indication of the viability and the decision making over at Square by making that game's release on one platform the downfall of the company when it comes to being third party. I'll be a liar if I told you I was feeling sorry for Square Enix. Never will. Your bleeding out is at your own hands and your own detriment. But you took a calculated guess on trying to be sure. Like I said, when it came to financials, they bet on what projections told them it would be. They bet on Sony continue to win. They bet on them to continue because there's a track record. There's a metrics there. But sometimes metrics, if you can skew the metrics to get in line with your own opinions, are you preaching to the choir? I believe they didn't bet on the overall downfall of the market. So if they did bet on the downfall of the market, then they would have put themselves in as many places to be seen and purchased as possible in order to mitigate loss. See, because it doesn't take away from them if they launch on Xbox. Actually, it enhances them. It doesn't take away from the Sony consumer if they launch on Xbox, except for the console warrior, because he has nothing to yell that he has exclusive. But as a third-party company, you must think third-party first and overall health. Now, I know that there's going to be dissenting arguments talking about that. No, well, you have to say if you're getting money, then, not to put it over there. You'd rather take cash over a possible check. I'm going to say that means you don't believe in your software. I always tell you, if you believe in yourself, then you're going to try. And you have to bet on yourself in order to win. If you play it safe all the time, you're going to come up snake eyes. You're going to have to take the chance in order to be great. That's what legends are made of. Square always struck me as having a champion heart. So it was disappointing to me seeing that they never bet on their own IPs to push the industry. Final Fantasy used to have the weight of a Grand Theft Auto. The reason why Grand Theft Auto is so strong, and it's not just Rockstar, and it's the fact that it's going to push the industry forward. You know what it's going to do. And it's going to be everywhere. Yeah, you could probably get the marketing here or there. But that's not going to stop it from betting on itself all over. It's going to be on PC. It's going to be on Xbox. It's going to be on PlayStation. And I believe that Nintendo Switch, if they have a streaming option, depending on the strength of the AI chip that's inside, and the GPU and the CPU that's on deck, it might launch on the Switch 2 as well. So I'm just hoping Square realizes the only thing that helped them was that Final Fantasy Online, that 14, bro. At some point in time, that them legs is gonna buckle, right? Keep waiting. I come from R-Type. All Guns Blazing looks amazing. I love shooters, man. I come from a long line of shooters. TurboGrafx used to be my best console, and it was because they had some of the best shooters available. Genesis had a lot of shooters, it was just a time where anybody can jump in, make a great shooter, and this looks like a great shooter. It harkens back to the days of yesteryear, and with the level of cinematics that it does offer in the Unreal Engine, that thing looks phenomenal. And it's out now. Probably going to pick it up on Friday, when I do my Steam checkouts and looks. because I'm pretty sure that it's available across the board. I'll find out if it's available on Xbox, and I can use some like Xbox points to pick it up. But the game looks great. I'm excited for the development of old school traditional platformers, shooters, beat 'em ups. Everything is making a comeback. Fighters. We are in a renaissance of creativity, and hopefully people can look back at was once hot and once beloved and bring that back. And I just looked at the trailer and I watched the game and I got goosebumps remembering all the other stuff that we used to play. So if this is your first time playing a shooter, like a top down shooter, not a side shooter, yo, you're in for a treat. It looks really good. It was so much stuff going on, and I'm into that stuff. Started with Galaga as a kid, and it's just those games bring joy to me. So I hope you enjoyed that trailer, and I just wanted to get my opinion off on it. That is something there, and it caters to the kid in me. I hate this game. That's it. I hate this game. It proves me wrong. I hate this game. It keeps winning. Has a Tomb Raider add-on. I hate this game. It won't go away. I hate this game. Do I have to bend the knee to this stupid game? Dead by Daylight. You guys continue to win despite all my vitriol towards you. It is crazy. I hate this game. And a light news day, and see, around this time, everybody's trying to look to see what is going to happen at Gamescom, and Gamescom is soon. You see a lot of my guys are going to Fan Fest in California, and being the Iron Lords will have a presence there. What do we look forward to from Gamescom? Expect Xbox to do what they said, to show out for the gaming public in the largest gaming centric event, if you will, and expect new and exciting things. It was one thing I wanted to talk about because Xbox made a AA studio and with existing IPs, and they talked about IPs that could possibly be used. StarCraft is one. Like, if I'm having a betting scale, do I ever bring back StarCraft Ghost? Now, this is an urban legend within the gaming ecosphere. Please do your history and research on this. After all these years, I'm still waiting for that game. I remember having screenshots and looking at Game Fan magazines about this game and it being lost to the annals of time. Is it some form of StarCraft itself bringing the franchise to the forefront? Or is it? See, because our opinion, us hardcore gamers, our opinion of a AAA game is different perception-wise to shareholders and boards. Dare I guess that there's people over at Xbox that want older IPs that are just sitting on the shelf that's being clamored for and begged for to come back to be shown. I was inside Game Pass and I saw a reoccurring IP that has been cried for all over. Now, me personally, I always thought Rare made a better product in Conquer. I like Conquer better than any IP that Rare made. I like Conquer better than Donkey Kong Country, then Sea of Thieves. I just like Conquer. And that's because Clockwork Orange, the movie, is one of my greatest movies of all time. And it had a homage to it. I brought a Laserdisc player for Clockwork Orange. Clockwork Orange, the movie, is one of those transcendent movies that no matter what time you watch it, it's still current. I feel that way with Aliens, the first movie. And I feel like that, like with Terminator 2. And I feel like that with Clockwork Orange. And Conquer was that. And that game is beautiful. But I don't think they make Conquer. Do I think they make Banjo-Kazooie? If I'm willing to make a bet, and I'll bend the knee to you guys, that Xbox is going to announce Banjo-Kazooie at Gamescom. And I expect the universe to crack. Because that is a heavy blow. Now, you say that's a AA studio, King. Does Microsoft view Banjo-Kazooie as a AAA game? That's what you have to figure out. Well, this is the part in the video where I'm going to tell you to like, follow, and subscribe. And I'm going to take that logo and I'm going to bet on me. And I'm going to bet that knee on Banjo-Kazooie. And I'm going to throw that logo around it. And I'm going to yell out, try to play the Game Pass.